following podcast is Wrestling Daft and is scheduled for 1 hour. Maybe more. It has no real time limits, making their way into your ears. First, from a place called Barneston, he is the Pyramid. Rob Florence!
It's going to be the funniest show ever because I'm all about the comedy and the money, baby.
How much you gonna pay?
And his partner, from the top end of Stevenson.
From Mexico City to Beef Community Centre, I've got stories that are going to blow your mind. Welcome to Wrestling Daft, a wrestling podcast hosted by myself. I am an actor, wrestler, game show host, Robbie Burns impersonator as of recent. I am a radio DJ, and I am not live here in my studio. Apartment in Chicago, Illinois. That's right, I'm in the top end of Stevenson currently, and unfortunately today I am not joined by Burleson superstar, the number one comic in Scottish history, Mr. Robert Florence. He has, of all things, toothache. Unfortunately, he's been ill all week. He's been given painkillers. Apparently, the dentists can't drill. They're not drilling for another 6 months. I know how it feels. Toothache is but yeah, nightmare to deal with. However, today I'm going to hand over the reins because there is no way that I can host this thing myself. I am not good at doing this. Talking through stuff and reviewing. I find it hard to watch wrestling, to be honest with you. I mean, we got the news that Rab had pulled out about half an hour ago. I says, right, shit, well, I better watch NXT. I better watch everything. I didn't manage to do any of that. I did manage to, however, come up with some puns for another idea. So we'll get to that very, very shortly. But I'm now handing over the reins to none other than the producer of Wrestling Daft, Mr. John.
Thank you, Grado. What are you talking about? You're a radio presenter now. You can do all this shit.
You would think I'd be better at it, but let's no lie. I've just basically tried this intro about 16 times before I managed to nail it right. So I don't want the night to go long. So we'll just get you to to host the rest of it. It's unfortunate news about Rab. I don't know how I'm going to manage to bury and put over things, but hopefully you'll lead me along the way.
As we always say in the wrestling business, card is subject to change. And unfortunately, Rab couldn't make it. I don't think, he appreciate, half an hour before the show, he gets in touch saying, dentist can't drill for 6 months, going to have to go private, and then there's a waiting list, and then he left us with going fucking Corona. I don't think he then appreciated the fact that I sent him a picture of Isaac Yankem. I don't think he appreciated that. But then he followed up with when he whack in these painkillers and hit the hay. So he's keeping it wrestling. So that's what we like to see.
He's keeping it wrestling. He's keeping it wrestling. A demon's for some, and for somebody like Rab, he's maybe going to sit there and gouge his tits off all night. So if you feel sorry for Rab, send him a wee tweet, give him a wee message on Facebook, or if he's even got it, I don't even know. And let him know.
He's off Twitter now. He's off Twitter. He's
off Twitter, right? You can't get in touch. If you want me to pass on to Rab, I'm on Twitter. He's a retweet and
then we'll put it on the Wrestling Daft groups chat. Grado,
hashtag pray for Rab.
Hashtag pray for Rab. Grado, we need to talk about Tam O'Shanter because Grado has been at it for the last week, has been practicing Tam O'Shanter. Now, what are you doing it for, Grado?
Well, I actually told this story today on Football Daft, so if you are an avid listener or a babe, you're probably pissed off listening to this, but basically at the start of lockdown, I was asked to do a Robbie Burns poem for a thing called Tam Fest. Now, this is a festival in Ayrshire that happens every year, but unfortunately, because of the virus this year, it's all gone virtual. So they asked me to recite a Robbie Burns poem. Says, look, we've given you a couple of months to learn it, whatever. I thought to myself, you know what? I've done Burns at the school, man, to a louse, to a mouse, the full biff that I've done it. So I spoke the day on Fit by Daft. I sang Address to Haggis, and I chopped it up right in front of the former First Minister himself, Alex Salmond. So I thought to myself, right, do you know what? I'll be able to nail this, no bother. It wasn't until about a month ago I looked at the poem. It's fucking 15 minutes long, probably one of the longest poems that Robbie Burns does. And so there's a guy in River City called Ian Robertson. He's a great actor. I saw his YouTube videos of him reciting it. He goes about the Burns suppers and stuff like that. And I messaged him. I put him over. I says, look, you're the man at this time of Shanter. How long did it take you to learn? He says, about 2 years. Right. So I'm like, what the 2 years? I says, well, I didn't even tell him that I needed to cram it in a couple of weeks. What I done was I just got totally obsessed with, John, sorry, I've been putting videos in. I've been making my own wee makeshift studio in my house to try and make it look as good as possible. I've even learned green screen, mate. I've done green screen a full lot. But I have managed to record it. I'm happy with it. I'm going to give you a wee bit just now. So, you just introduced me, John?
Right, okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tam Fest. Up first to perform Rabbie's well-known works, Tam O'Shanter. He is a professional wrestler, a presenter, a quiz show host, actor. He does it all, and now he does the Bard himself. It is Mr. Graham Stavely, a.k.a. Grado for the Tap End.
Tam O'Shanter. When Chapman Billy's lead the street and drooty neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tap the gate, well, we sit boozing at the nappy and getting foo and unca happy. We think Nara Langscott smells the mosses, water slaps and styles that lie between us and our aim, or sits our silky, sullen dame, gathering her brews like gather in storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This true fund, honest Tam O'Shanter. See for here, you nick the canter. All there one there a tune surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses.
It's very good.
Oh, Tam had studied lies. As 10-9 wife Kate's advice, she told the wheel there was a skellum, a blethering bluster and drunken bellum. Well, keep going.
No, that was good.
From November till October is market day, thou wouldst sober. The ilka meld away the mill that sat as long as thou had siller. Every egg was cad a show in the smith, and he got roaring foo, and then at Lord's house, even on Sunday, thou drank with curtain till Monday.
Christ, this goes longer than a fucking NXT match, this fucking podium, doesn't it? Jesus Christ.
I'll jack it in now, but there we go. The Robert Burns poem is in the bag. I also want to put over, do you know what? I know we should advertise our podcasts and stuff like that, right? But who cares? I've done a podcast with ex-Fitma player Kenny called Flip the Mindset. Have you seen him that started up, John?
Do you know what? I just saw a little clip of it there before I came on. I flashed up on my YouTube and I went, oh, great. I forgot Grado was on that thing. And I watched 5 minutes of it. Was
it all right?
It was all right, yeah. No.
How fat am I?
Do you know what? I did say to my wife, he's pulling a wee bit of weight. As I did. But listen, you're a wrestler, mate. You're allowed to. And, as everyone keeps saying, it's your character, so.
Mate, I explained it on that podcast that happened all the time. Tommy Dreamer, don't kill your gimmick. Don't kill your gimmick. Don't kill your gimmick.
Kill the gimmick.
Anytime I try to lose weight, but do you know what? TNA ain't calling anytime soon. This is it, man. I had been on a diet the last 2 weeks. Right. I load 7 punt, made an asset. I'm going back on it this week. Please watch that podcast. Have a wee, because I was happy with it. I spoke about things that I never really spoke about.
It was really
and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I've never spoke about stuff like that really on a podcast, so I'm never going to be talking about that on here. So
yeah, if you are going to listen to our podcast, go and listen to that one. Listen to Grado pour his heart out. It's a bit like one of these kind of Piers Morgan sit-down interviews, isn't it? Did he want you to greet?
It was.
Like the big show.
I think he did want me to greet. Do you know that? I think he did want me to greet. And do you know what? There was at one point where I didn't really start greeting, but I started to kind of, I gave it the big no sell. It was when I was talking about stuff about my mum and all that. And I thought, I can't greet. And I'm so glad. I know that there's anything wrong with greeting, because see, John, I greet it. That advert on the telly with the donkey that's needing a couple of bob because it's got a broken leg.
Aye.
Mate, I greet it, things like that. I greet it adverts. I'm a big greeter. So I never greet, but I wouldn't mind if I did, because it's all right to greet.
Isn't it amazing that a lot of wrestlers, I mean, we've talked about it on this show before, the big show greets at anything. Mark Henry loves a greet as well, doesn't he?
But maybe I should start greeting, I don't know.
Maybe that's the way to get into WWE. Talking about greeting, did you see the Drew documentary, the 24 documentary on the network?
I totally did. I watched it on Monday, and by the way, that's my put over for the week, so I'm going to talk about it just now, right? So that gets that out of the road. I watched it on Monday. Fuck, it was emotional. Do you know that?
I know.
It really was emotional, mate. I had to text him right at the end because he's Drew's Feather. I love Drew's Feather, right? He's
Do you know-
such.
Do you know, I saw Drew's Fair and he was greeting her, and all I could think about in my head is what you said to me. We've talked about on this show where you said, "What did you have for your breakfast?" to Drew's dad, and there's a portion of cornflakes, and that's all I could fucking think about. And I'm sure a lot of wrestling daft listeners, that's all they could think about when he saw Drew's dad.
Because he's got that accent. And obviously that's what I thought about. A portion of cornflakes. That probably is that's what I'm saying. I had to message Drew and I said, "Oh, portion of cornflakes, man, had me greeting tears, man, because it really was good. It was good seeing Air. It was good because, funnily enough, remember last week, and I hadn't realised I hadn't told it before, but the Jake the Snake Roberts in the post office.
The posters with video footage of it. I could not believe it.
I need to get footage of that because I was at that training seminar. But how weird was that? I spoke about that last week. I had no idea they were going to speak about that. But I totally remember that. That training seminar, and that was brilliant to see. And obviously, I'm trying to. Don't get me wrong.
I was looking as well, mate. I was looking for. Come on, where's Grado?
Come on. I mean, it's a good thing I wasn't watching that, my bud, because I'd have been going. I'm up next. I'm definitely going. There's got to be something. There's got to be features. I'm up next. I'm so glad that I never done it. Absolutely. Fucking blacklisted by all WWE. It was good seeing all the boys speaking and stuff.
This is what I don't get, Grado. Now, I'm mates with you, right? You know, it was nice seeing Noam up there. It was nice seeing Wolfgang. Nice seeing Dallas up there doing their thing. But they missed out the main fucking part of the story. It was the biggest match in British wrestling history was at the SEC, you and Drew, and they missed that out. I don't know why they did that.
They decided to go for him and Ricochet in front of 42 folk at Evolve. That's fair dues, man. Totally brand new. But, I mean, I could say, you know, I wish I was in it. But at the same time, Jack Jester, who is his best mate, I felt he should be involved. But, like Jester, the WWE seem to have a kind of... they don't really like... mention as no, that I'm saying the WWE should mention. Don't get that. And by the way, Red Lightning as well. Look, we could go on and on and on.
Aye.
It was just good to see some of the boys get to talk about it.
Yeah,
and they done really, really well. Dallas came across really well.
I thought it was a very American note, was it? It was very much like you're told what to kind of say, kind of thing. I thought we had obviously John Galloway on the show as well after WrestleMania. He came across really well as well.
He was great. Remember, he was on the show. That's right. I know what you mean. And you know what? That's one thing that I hate is that whenever you have to go on the telly and it has to be slowed down and pronounced right. In Dallas, me and Dallas are exactly the same that way. There was one point I knew he was going to swear, but he stopped himself at the last minute. It was something like, you know, he was maybe going to say, you know, and I started to push. I mean, I laughed. You know, like just something just totally changed it in the last second. But it was mint seeing all the footage for back in the day. Like I totally remember him and Sheamus hanging about together. I totally remember. Obviously, at the time he was muckled up with Big Stu and stuff like that. And but Drew was something special. Even for saying about how he would always go Vince will pay for it. Vince will. Noticed about Drew is he looks like a man now. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
He had the right baby face, handsome looks. Now he's a big grizzled motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? He's looking great. And wow, he's so likable. Such a likable guy, man. I owe a lot to Drew, and it was great to watch. I'm trying to think what other kind of standout parts of it, but it was just, again, it was horrible to think, you know, but I think it's just a Scottish thing where we were all looking forward to 80,000 people cheering on Drew, and it never happened. And obviously, we'll get an opportunity to wrestle in front of a big crowd like that in the future. It should have been special, and instead it was in a gym. But you've got to give the due to the you've got to give WWE their due. Sorry, they really know how to do these documentaries. There, without a doubt, the best thing about the network are the documentaries. They're shit hot.
No, it was great to see. Like you say, it was brilliant. Davey Boy in there, Ravy Davey, and all that sort of stuff. So that was great to see, and really enjoyed it. And like, I mean, obviously, it just you feel so sorry for Drew, and it's as we said before, it's fucking typical Scottish fucking luck. You know, world champion didn't get to do it in front. You can just imagine the pop that he would have got. It would be incredible. Well, I'm sure we'll come on to that again, the Bury and Putovers, because a lot of people watched it this week. But let's go back to the correspondence from last week. We have an email, Grado. Not social media. We have an email. And remember, if you want to get us on the email, you can do that. WrestlingDaft@gmail.com. Here's the email. Hey, guys. My name is Gemma. Now, this is amazing. We've got our female listener, which is great. Thank you very much, Gemma. You've upped the percentage of female listeners on this show to about 5 now, so thanks for that.
So that's Louise Westy and Gemma.
Oh, no, we've got...
Who else, sorry?
Jen. We've got Jen as well.
That's right, we've got Jen.
If you listen to this show and are of female persuasion, let us know, because we want more girls listening to this show, because girls love wrestling too. Right, so anyway, the email goes, hey guys, my name is Gemma. I'm a nurse in West Lothian. My boyfriend is obsessed with wrestling and now I fucking love it too. Brilliant. I did rip him at the start. Well, that goes without saying. Saying how fake it was. Now I'm doing suplexes and clotheslines round the house. Anyway, I would really love you to discuss the Iron Sheik's tweets. They are incredible. Just to add, my boyfriend says one time in the cat house, he saw Grado and he was steaming and he pissed himself. Love, Gemma.
What? I'll piss myself. Right, okay. Hold
right,
on.
so first of all, what points do you want to discuss the Iron Sheik's tweets here, Grado?
Right, well, I want to bust our bubble for a start.
Okay.
To let her know. In fact, I don't know if I really want to do this, right? But by the way, it's like an email was funny. It's just not true. Basically, the Iron Sheik, right, on Twitter, I love these tweets. Loved them to start. I used to retweet it all the time. And then I was at a taping in Canada. Now, I don't know if I should be, you know what I mean? Sometimes...
You're breaking kayfabe here.
A wee bit here, man. I don't know if I should do it because I like the guy. Guy. But let's just say, it's not the Iron Sheik. I've met the Iron Sheik guy for Twitter, who is somebody that you would never imagine who it is. It's you won't know him. I don't think you'll know him, but it's just what he does for a living. And put it this way, he's no short of a few bob, and he carries the Iron Sheik handle. And me and Joe Hendry met the guy, and we were fucking gutted when we realised, you know, I mean, we obviously had an inkling that it wasn't him, but when we realised it was this geezer, we're like, you're joking. By the way, totally brand new. And it was like, I can't remember exactly what the tweet we got him to say, but we got him to tweet for us. I think Joe Hendry got him to put, to get him to put him over. Can I idea? But does that bust your bubble a wee bit?
Well, I'm sure Gemma's got it, but so has Iron Sheik got a social media manager? Is this what we're saying?
Aye. Basically.
Fucking hell. Who knew? How can the Sheik afford that? Jesus.
No, do you know what? No, I don't even think that he's the social media manager. He's just a random guy that hods the Sheik's Twitter handle.
All right, fair enough.
I've gave a lot of stuff away in this show, but I've never ever been as kind of nervous as I'm talking about this. I think this will ruin it for quite a few folk.
Sheik will come and batter you, mate. That's what's going to happen. We'll
Trust me, the guy in the Sheik couldn't batter me, put it that way.
Oh, that's a promo cut. Right, Bat Dallas, book it. Sheik versus Grado. There we are. We've got Callum on now. He says, recently I moved in with my girlfriend. Well,
anyway, no, hold on a minute. We just hold on.
Oh, sorry.
And the cat,
so you want to get to the cat house rumor, right? You want to dispel that, yeah? Right,
I could probably count the number of fingers I've got in my horn. The amount of times I've been at the catty. I didn't piss myself.
Right, okay.
Your boyfriend pissed himself.
Right, your boyfriend pissed himself.
Your boyfriend pissed himself.
You ask him about that, Gemma, eh?
Aye.
Listen, thank you very much for listening anyway, Jenna. Let's move on to Callum. Callum says, I've recently moved in.
Done a lot of things in the cat house, but I've certainly not pissed myself.
Right. Okay, we've established that now, Grado. Okay, we've established that Grado did not piss himself in the cat house. If we see that on Twitter, it's absolutely scurrilous. Okay. Right, let's move on to Callum. Callum says, I've recently moved in with my girlfriend. Excellent, Callum. The fact that you're a listener to this show and have a girlfriend is a good thing. I've got Wrestle Crate Grado signature framed on our wall. We were talking about this last week. You signed all the pictures for Wrestle Crate. Callum's got one on his wall. There you go. She's not much of a wrestling fan, but she loves Grado and Finn. So they made the cut. Managed to keep Bret Hart too, even though she's no idea who he is. So Callum has sent you know how Rab loves a picture on the show. Callum has sent a picture of his wall, and there you are. There's Bret Hart's signature for him. There's another signature of Grado, and yeah, Finn Balor as well. So you made it to Callum's wall and his girlfriend.
Thank you very much for putting up. I mean, this is Thank you very much. I mean, I don't know what to say when folks say that. I mean, thanks very much. No, really, I do appreciate that you're
a fan.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But I get a wee bit. I get a bit already. Do you know what I mean? Because
it's good to know that all those pictures you signed for WrestleCade are getting put to good use, though, Grado.
Mate, I signed about 13,000 of them, and I've had about 2 folks send me pictures of them being put on the wall. So
there's another one for you. So that's good.
And I've obviously seen some on eBay that are up there for about $3.99 and stuff like that.
Thanks also to Dan who got in touch with us on Twitter. And now, did I send you this, Grado? Or I put it on Twitter. It's on the Wrestling Daft Twitter. You can check out. Now, he brought to his attention a video from Insurrection 2001, right? Basically, you know that crowd shot they do at all the UK shows where they pan to the crowd and there's, Wayne Rooney sitting in the crowd or some ex-footballer or some celebrity or whatever. You know the one.
Saw the exact video that you're talking about, and that is going to be the absolute best kind of appearance by a couple of celebs in the front row, man. It's shit hot.
This is what we're talking about. Eamon Holmes, Chris Tarrant, and Gianfranco Zola in 2001 at Insurrection. But the thing that I loved about it is Holmes is there wearing a leather jacket. Tarrant's there as well. Gianfranco Zola looks like he wants to be fucking somewhere else. It looks, remember the Radicals when they came in, they were sitting in the front row. It looks like a really fucked up tribute version of the Radicals.
It does. Do you know, it's funny, the wee kind of celebrity appearances. Have we ever spoke about the time that Kenny Miller got in the WWE ring? No, we've not spoken about that, but that was tremendous. Kenny Miller in the WWE ring. Did you see it?
I didn't. I wasn't at that show.
No, I just seen the video footage. Do you know, I remember it coming up the next day. I don't know whether I think probably half the crowd booed him and half the crowd probably cheered him. But how random is stuff like that? Kenny Miller in the ring. I can't remember who he was in the ring with, but it was good footage.
To be fair, Kenny Miller's had a lot of heel and face turns when it comes to Rangers and Celtic, hasn't he? So he would have fit right in the wrestling ring.
The Big Show Mac 2 here, isn't he?
Fucking right, it's Kenny Miller is the Big Show. There you go. So, I put this out on Twitter, saw this footage, I thought it was fucking brilliant. So, I put out on Twitter, what is the worst celebrity faction you can think of, and can you give us a name for them? So, we've got a couple of responses to this one. Per se, it says, Tim Allen, Martha Stewart, Jeffrey Archer, and Gino DeCampo, the fabulous jailbirds. Very good person.
John, I don't know. I don't get that. Sorry.
They've all been in the nick, mate. They've all been in the nick.
Right.
Gino DeCampo was fucking put in the nick.
What was Gino DeCampo put in the nick for?
Oh, I think it was like fraud or something. I won't say anything. I don't want to, get into trouble with the law. Right. I don't want DeCampo coming suing me. But just Google it. You'll find out what DeCampo got put away for.
Would he make a DeCampo doing Family Fortunes?
Is DeCampo doing Fortunes?
Do you know this now?
I did not know this. To be fair, I didn't like Kay doing it.
I didn't like it. I mean, see things like that breaks my heart. Seeing the likes of All Les sitting away every weekend. But he has actually been he's been like trending on Twitter for the last 3 weeks because it's just full of folk. It's just full of folk burying Gino DeCampo and saying bring back Les Dennis. Does
DeCampo go if it's on the board? I'll give you the money myself.
Oh, that part.
Oh, that's good. DeCampo. Get your own part of DeCampo. Fucking no wonder you were in the jail. Right, Stephen says Ruth Davison, Douglas Ross, Richard Laird, and Willie Rennie better together. 2.0. Oh, wait, that's real. We won't get political, Stephen. Thanks very much. Mania 85, Alan Titchmarsh, Monty Don, and Trevor from Brookside. I like this one. The Dirt Business. See, because they're all.
I like that one.
Gardeners are buried in the garden.
I like that one. Yep. Who was it? It was buried.
That one's from Mania 85 and contender for Listener of the Week. Hugh Grant, Wayne Rooney, Angus Deaton, and Tiger Woods. The Four Horsemen. See what he's done there. Because they all, were with ladies in the night. Yes, Val Harron, regular correspondent. Nigel Farage, Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robinson, and Nick Griffin. The far right to censor.
I like that.
It's good. Last week as well, Grado, do you remember we were talking wrestler wines and we were, the WWE brought out this new range of wines. They've got an Ultimate Warrior wine, they've got an Undertaker wine, and you came up with a fucking belter. What the wine should be called? What was it? Can you remember?
The Grape Cali.
It was an absolute belter. We thought that couldn't be beaten, but we put it out there on Twitter anyway. Martin's come back with the Young Bucks Fast. See what he's done?
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah. Decent. Cooper, Cabernet Savio Vega, Glenn Jacobs Creek, and Mark Merlot.
That's good.
Decent. Andy, I like this one. No way, Rose.
Brilliant.
Big Andy as well says pros Coco beware. That doesn't really work, Andy. Bray Wyatt Zinfandel. Right. Ian Andrew Dice Clay says Shatanoff de Pap O'Shango.
I like that.
Decent. And Scott follows up with Echo for one falls.
So, you know, I was sitting there thinking, Charlie Nicholas style, Charlie Nicholas style, when you told me to look up basically the matches and stuff that we were talking about on the show, and I never got into it. Instead, I decided to think about all sort of puns. I just wanted to add one more for the
wines.
The wine one.
Oh, excellent. Let's go.
Zinfandel Wilkes. The Patriot. Del Wilkes. Zinfandel Wilkes.
Yeah.
Right?
Great, Cal.
And then decided to, I thought, right, I actually like when the punters send in puns. And obviously doing the radio in the morning, man, I'm so put it's pun daft, right?
Commercial radio.
So I thought, and I think, do you know what? I get the feeling we've already done it before. I wanted to do COVID-related wrestling puns.
We have not done that. We have not done that. Right, okay, you got one to start us off.
Right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Tyler Sneeze.
Right, good.
Spike Dudley.
Right, good.
The Flu Day.
Right, yeah.
Matt Riddled. Jim Herd Immunity. Isolation of Domination.
These are brilliant.
Outbreak Jack. I've got Rated R-rate Superstar. The R-rate? No, that's not good. And the final one, Bash at the Jason Leach.
Right, okay, love it, Grado. Next week, there's your homework right there. Get your wrestling-related COVID puns into us, and we'll get them on next week. And if you want to do that, just get on our Twitter. You'll get us at Wrestling Daft, on Insta at Wrestling Daft Podcast, or you can email like Gemma did. Get on wrestlingdaft@gmail.com, and we'll read out your COVID wrestling-related puns next week. So every week we like to separate the good from the bad in wrestling. The people who wear face masks properly, for those who have leave their nose hanging out. I don't know. Why are people doing that? I don't get it. You see them with their nose hanging out. It does wear the face mask. It doesn't work if you don't do the whole thing. But anyway, that's the good and the bad in wrestling. Have you got anything you want to Bury or put over this week, Grado?
Right, obviously I want to put over the Drew McIntyre documentary. Bury, I've not seen it enough to kind of dislike it as such. That's
fine. I'll put over the main event from NXT TakeOver. I've talked about it on the Marks the show. That Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor match. You wouldn't like it, Grado. It was kind of Japanese, kind of strong style, kind of wrestling kind of thing. But it was fucking.
I don't mind that.
It was pretty brutal. See, for like a WWE match, it was pretty fucking brutal. He's broke his jaw. The boy lost, Kyle O'Reilly lost a couple of teeth in it. It was pretty fucking brutal for a WWE match. So I'll put that over. I didn't check the Meltzer rating on it, actually. It's got a funny feeling it could be a 5-star.
I'm sure I've read it was a 5-star.
Was it really? That's good. Bury, however, like I was watching TakeOver, they've started doing this weird fucking shit where they start playing like kind of atmospheric, they were playing atmospheric music as they were kind of backstage approaching the ring, and they started doing this kind of weird shit with atmospheric music on WWE. I don't know what it is all about, but it sounds shite. So
it's funny how wee things like that can make you, can annoy you in it. It's weird as wrestling fans. I mean, in any other world, you would just fucking leave that, but it's funny how as wrestling fans, we've got to pick shit like that apart. I remember all this stuff. Remember when TNA... When Hogan started with TNA, there was a lot of stuff. The backstage stuff was like the camera that was motioning back and forward backstage, as if the camera was there, which totally made a lot of sense. Yeah. But I remember folk going, "Oh, what's this?" It's just it's a break for the normal fans can't deal with, couldn't they?
No, I know. Well, that's us wrestling fans. Let's go into the listeners, see what they're Bury and putting over. Neil says it might be controversial, but Bury, the use of blood in the dog chain match. I haven't seen this yet. That was on AEW. It was Cody and Brody Lee. It didn't add anything, and the timing of it was off. Neither of them hit their head at the spots that were supposed to bust them open. Right, I get that. So the blood's happened, but the spots haven't kind of worked out that way, right? Okay.
That's happened a few times in AEW, I must admit, with the old Kenny Omega and Jericho match. They were knocking fuck each other with everything, and they had the slightest bit of blood, and then whatever the spot that they did use to get the blood, it just didn't make sense. So aye, but no,
that's just annoying, isn't it? Put over Cage and Hobbs. AEW has been missing that sort of stuff. I've not seen AEW, so I can't comment, but I think Brian Cage looks really, really good in it. He's fucking his neck, he's got a neck. One of these guys has got a neck upon a neck. It's fucking scary. Bronze Chell, regular correspondent, put over the Drew 24 documentary on the network, and David Wilson getting a shout out there at the end.
Oh, did he? I must have clicked it off by then. What was that?
I just on the credits, and they used a couple of his shots as well when it's.
Oh, brilliant! The nicest man in wrestling, David Wilson, and that is without a doubt so true.
And Bronze Cello, and I have to say a big thank you to Bronze Cello. He hooked me up with getting into the Thunderdome, so I was in the Thunderdome for SmackDown.
How did that go?
It was weird. It was weird. We end up the wee man sat up with me and watched it, but we end up getting booted out of our room because we went to the toilet or whatever, and then cause it came back from an ad break and we weren't in the camera shot, they cut us and they booted us out the room.
No way. And did they tell you, please don't move for your seat?
Yeah, so they've got talkbacks. So you're like watching the show, and they've got someone down the line saying, "Hey, okay, here comes AJ Styles. Go mad for AJ Styles. Pop for AJ Styles. Go on." So they're telling
you all this.
And then they're like, "Okay, yeah, some people in this room, they've got bad lighting. If you don't have good lighting, you're gonna get kicked out. We got a lot of people waiting here." So yeah, we end up getting booted out. So Bronze Chell, Bronze Chell was burying the mod who booted John out of the Thunderdome during SmackDown. I've not went back and seen if I can see myself. Well, I put the wee man on screen, obviously. I was like, yeah, I'll step back. Out the way, wee man, fucking I'm but Chris wants to put over Sami Zayn, who loves the greatest British Bake Off, apparently. Who knew?
I've seen that, no.
Sami Zayn loves the Great British Bake Off. We'll have to check that one out. Chris is saying, Bury nothing, really. Yeah, there you go.
It's funny, the only Sami Zayn thing, I know we're flying through things here, but he has got a kind of weird habit. I remember when they were in Glasgow and he was with, what do you call him, Pac, and he wanted to go to this fucking mad, like, what was it? It was like wasn't he reggae, but it was something like that at the Barfly. It wasn't the Barfly, but something like that. And I think there was about 20 folk at this, and he was there, so I can imagine him having some obscure fascination with the Bake Off.
There you go. We need to research that. Westy wants to put over Grado's appearance on the Ross Owens live Facebook show with Ricky Gervais, which happened. Ricky Gervais turned up as Derek.
Which, I mean, that was superb, right? I mean, I love Ricky Gervais. He is up there, but I love The Rock, I love Larry David, I love Brock Lindo for 36 Creative, and I loved Ricky Gervais. That was the coolest thing ever. And for him to come on and ask a wrestling question was cool as well. If you haven't seen it, I've retweeted it all the gaff, but it was tremendous.
Amazing moment, absolutely amazing moment. Scott's what to put over Balor versus O'Reilly, 5-star match at TakeOver. Yep. Good one. And Ali becoming the face of Retribution. That is a good move because Retribution were looking like a terrible idea, but now they've kind of brought Ali into it as the leader, and it looks like it might actually do something. Good to see him getting a push because he's a decent wrestler. And Scott's burying nothing as well, so there you go. Daniel put over TakeOver, enjoyed the whole event, but that main event was different class. Yep, agreed. Buddy witnessing Ridge Holland destroying his leg, could have done without seeing that.
You sent me that on WhatsApp. That was absolutely horrific, man. It was total Henrik Larsson, Sid Vicious style.
It's one of those ones, you always see them in football. Remember David Bust when his ankle was kind of hanging off? It was Coventry against Man United. You hate seeing those things, and that looked horrible. So I hope he has a speedy recovery because they were really pushing him. So you've not worked with this guy, have you, Ridge Holland? Or I don't know what his
no, I don't know what his other name is, but also I'll tell you one that's really, really bad. Type in Adam Shame leg break. He'll not appreciate me saying this, right? But it is a horrific leg break, and it happens in Bell's Hill. It happened about 15 years ago, and That's fucking mental, man. It's no funny, right? But it's funny in that Jam, the referee at the time, shits himself. He doesn't know what to do, and he starts getting the X.
Aye.
You're in fucking Bells Hill Leisure Centre. Where the fuck? Who's going to cut? Like, who are you doing the X to? There's nobody sitting in the back picking their ass, fucking doing nothing, eating quavers. Do you know what I mean? Who's your X to? But anyway, I watched that Adam Shane leg break.
Right, we'll look in for that one. Chris Bury 24/7 title. It's just farcical now. Drew Gulak fighting over it, where he deserves to have a better opportunity, like the IC title. 24/7. They could have done so much more with that 24/7 title. I like the R-Truth stuff with it. It's really fun. You can do some good stuff. But they started off doing all this fucking mad shit where they were fighting around, like Tozawa and him were fighting around New York during Christmas. And it was just like, it's a bit shit now.
This is Vince's hard on for the Hollywood movie stuff. He really wants to, he's always wanted to produce movies. So he's getting right into it now, and a lot of folk don't really like it. I've not really enjoyed much of the stuff. Anything that's not got Jeremy Borash in it with a cinematic match, I'm not interested in.
Yeah, he's putting over the whole Reigns Tribal Chief storyline. Yeah, this whole Reigns heel turn thing's fucking brilliant at the moment. Loving that. Jonathan, definitely Buddy Cody winning the TNT title back. I don't get why they put the title back on him. I don't know what they're going to do with it because he just dropped it about a month ago and then came back really quick. Brody Lee should have carried that for months. Put over Jeff Cobb's performance in the G1 so far. He's an unbelievable athlete and wrestler. You've been watching the G1, Grado? Aye?
Nope.
Calzo, Buddy Cody Rhodes and his missus booking himself like a main eventer. He's like the Jeff Jarrett of AEW.
Tell you what, Jarrett got a lot of heat for pushing himself as the Austin of TNA back in the day, but I fucking loved it.
Aye, and put over anything to do with Talking Shop Mania is better than any other wrestling shite out there. I've not seen much of it. You seen much of the Talking Shop stuff?
Seen the first one and I loved it. Have they done another one since?
They must have done. The next Talking Shop Mania must be coming up, Beck.
Oh, go to watch that, mate. I'd rather watch that than the main events that are on NXT and stuff like that, which is terrible, but I don't know. It's just the way I'm feeling these days.
Absolutely. Thanks for all your buddies and putovers. We'll get more with Rab and Grado next week.
Woo!
So as a part of the show, we invite you, the listeners, to do a run-in. And as Rab says, it's not really a run-in because you're invited onto the show, so that doesn't really work. You come on, you ask what you want. You might want to find out what Grado thought about the Drew documentary. We'll get into that. You know, we've done that. Obviously, I'll do that again. You might want to find out what Grado, his favourite Robbie Burns poem is after his fabulous Tramo Shanter thing. Or you might want to ask his opinion on, you know, where they think the storyline of Roman Reigns is going. Who knows? Yeah, don't ask him anything wrestling related that's current. That'll be a waste of your time. So every week we get somebody to do a run, and from the Patreon this week, it is long-time listener to the show, Sandy Dagan.
Sandy, how you doing, my man? I've got unfortunate news just to break it to you slowly here. I hope you've not come in here an absolute Burleson mega fan because Rab is unfortunately, he's booked sick. Don't worry, he's going to be all right. He's got a wee bout of the toothache, but unfortunately couldn't do it tonight, so it's just me and John. So if you're a big Burleson fan, you've come on to ask about the Ice Cream Van Boys or up the road, man, you've had it, mate, you're snooker.
It's all right. Hope he feels better soon.
How are you tonight?
I'm not too bad. I'm very happy to be here. I've wanted to come on for a while, and
well, you're here, big man. You're here. Let's get right off the bat here. What did you have for your breakfast this morning?
Kellogg's Crave. You know, like the wee chocolate pillow sort of.
Hold on a minute. Am I sensing a northern accent?
No, I'm Borders.
See, it's very similar, isn't it, John? The kind of accent. I thought that we had maybe a sort of what do you call them? Who do we put over in the show every week?
Wrestle Zone, Bingo Balance, all that sort of stuff.
Bingo Balance. I thought we'd have somebody for the Wrestle Zone scene that came on there to talk for Aberdeen. So you're for the Borders.
Right, yeah, town called Jedburgh.
What do you do for a job?
I'm currently
You're joking? A real life Janny?
No.
Get to ring the bell.
No, it's automatic.
What are you joking me? I thought the Jannies rung the bell. Is that just a fallacy? I always thought when I was at school it was the Janny would ring the bell, but it's all on automatic timers now.
It's all timers and that nowadays. All the new technology it takes the fun away for the job.
See, I'm going to have to apologise to the listeners because I've already told them the night that the Iron Sheik on Twitter isn't really the Iron Sheik. And now we're getting Johnny's fucking saying that the bells are automated now.
Fucking hell.
This is not a good night. Also, see, I must admit, see, when I was young, I actually used to want to be a Johnny.
Why do you want to be a Janny, Grado?
Just sit and eat toast all day.
That's what he did, eh? It was always like the Janny. I remember it was Mr. Neil, and like it was the back in the day, like where you could smoke anywhere you want. The Janny's fucking office, it was like fucking what's his face, Killian Cross coming out when you opened the office. It was like smoke just piles out of the Janny's office.
That's right. That's right. Here, I want to Sandy, I want to give you a wee bit of advice for being a Janny, and it comes from my old Janny, Mr. Thompson, right? He had a wee kind of setup when we were at the playground, right? And he basically carried about with him a yellow card and a red card because he was a part-time referee. And if we were in the playground and we started kicking up shit, we started fucking hitting one another or playing football when we're not allowed to, he'd shout us out, yellow card in the book. You start your shite again between now and even lunchtime. You start acting up again, you get the red card and you were in to see the head teacher. And I tell you what, that worked, by the way. That totally worked, because if I was in a booking, man, I'd shit myself. I would keep the heat for the rest of the day in case I get sent to the showers. Well, not really showers, it was missing Denning Bell's office, but...
The thing nowadays is that parents are they're just that defiant in a way. So, like in our school, we had a support teacher who everybody shit feared it. So I would tell him off and then just laugh at me and say, "You're gone." And I'd say, "No, I'll get her." And like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't get her."
Here, Grado, do you think there would be room in wrestling for a Janny gimmick?
A Janny gimmick. I feel has that not been done yet? I'm sure but
I don't think I've seen that.
I'm telling you, I would put my money on being on a pure shitty indie British promotion down in fucking Devon or fucking wherever it is. I can imagine there already been a gimmick existing in a Janny. I can just see somebody that's been training for fucking 7 years. They can't bump. They can't bump forwards, backwards, left or right. They're fucking totally out of shape. And I can imagine people going, "Fuck it, give him the Janny gimmick," and go out with a bag of sand.
Yep, the fucking Janny gimmick.
You know what I mean? Falls count everywhere. He calls to get anywhere. Coming out with a fucking toaster, a bell. Even though do you know what I mean? Ring the bell. Or that
ring
kind
the
of
bell.
stuff.
It could be a school bell. That's fucking brilliant. And then when there's like blood in the ring, you come out with the sawdust and put it down. You have the brush is your weapon. You come out down the brush. You whack people with the fucking brush. You've got the kind of brown coat. This is fucking the gimmick to be had, Sandy. Have you thought about taking up professional wrestling?
Oh, I've thought about it, but Ken, it's always been too big for it. But
mate, so was I, man. So was I.
Grado?
Can I? All right, calm down, John. Do you know? I must admit, but Sandy Degnan is the most Janny name I've ever heard in my life. If you had to say what does Sandy Degnan do, you would say he is a fucking Janny. Innit?
I thought about it like that.
Have you got any kind of? Is this you now? You're the Janny.
It was just made a transition
stopgap.
thing. Aye.
Is it a stopgap? What do you want to be the auxiliary nurse?
I've just got out of college again. I'm doing my HND in travel and tourism, so I'm trying to get.
Oh, that's fucked to the moment, mate. That's fucked to the moment. Stay away from travel and tourism.
It's just typical. I get called Bad Luck Sandy for a reason, and
oh, Sandy.
Oh,
mate,
perfect timing. I was like, oh, I'll just go through.
All right, thank you for coming on, mate, and thank you for doing the running. Apologies that it's myself.
Well, he's not asked his question or nothing.
I'm about to do that.
Oh, sorry, mate. Here, I'm not finished with him.
I'm sorry, you want more questions?
I'm not finished with Sandy Degnan.
Right, okay, you asked Mr. Degnan.
I actually got my name right, Grado. There's not a lot of people that can say my second name right.
Did he say Degnan?
Introduce me.
Did he say?
Aye.
Right, but it is Degnan, isn't it?
Aye.
And I got it right.
You did, aye.
Aye, cheers. Aye, I did.
Gold star for you.
Thanks. I feel as if I want to ask you more questions. Like, what age are you?
25.
Right, and when did you get into wrestling?
Pretty much all my days, really.
Right.
Earliest memories was my sister, my older sister. She was obsessed with Hulk Hogan.
Really?
She's 30 odd. So I kind of just got forced to watch. I think it was WCW, and then eventually when I got a bit older, again I started watching it, just watching everything really, pretty much.
Really? Was that the kind of Channel 5 days or Bravo? I think we've debated this before, but do you remember what channel you watched
I
on?
want to say Channel 5. I think my mum told me we went up on holiday up north somewhere, and there was a pub full of blokes on a Friday night or something, and I don't know what night Nitro was on. And I went in at like 5-6-year-old saying, can you put WCW on? And the boy put WCW on and took the football off the telly for me because I was a big degree. So
It's class.
Love
Class,
that.
man.
Love that.
Do you go to live shows, Sandy?
aye, I do got a lot of ICW shows when I can. Obviously, I try and get to the big shows because, like I said, traveling up on a Sunday is not ideal.
Aye.
So try and get to like the big ICW shows like WWE when it's here, and went into TNT in Liverpool for the deathmatch tournament in January. That was pretty.
Do you know, it's somewhere I've never worked, Sandy. I've never done the TNT before, and I'd like to do it. It's sort of kind of like it's the same idea as ICW, is it? Am I right?
Nah, extreme wrestling. So no, all the matches are like death matches and stuff, but it's
You're not an extreme wrestler, Grado.
I beg your pardon. I'd say probably in the last couple of ICW matches that I've had, I've asked to be put in the sort of matches. Me and Shad discuss this all the time. Shad is always like, you need to just go as a deathmatch, take it further with the deathmatch wrestling and make it your gimmick. And I tell you what, I enjoy the matches a lot more than what I do a normal match. I fucking love it.
I know you did Jimmy Havoc. I know you did Jimmy Havoc in London.
Jimmy Havoc, absolutely loved it. I was supposed to wrestle Nick Gage in Cleveland, Ohio 2 years ago. And because, listen, when I was young, it was deathmatch wrestling that I loved. I certainly went through a phase of it. CZW, I loved it. Sick Nick Mondo, the wife beater, John Zandig, the Lobo. I was deathmatch wrestling daft. I loved it. CZW Night of Infamy 2, 2002. Watched that show November 19th for Philadelphia, the ECW Arena. What a fucking show that was. Anyway, I love it, mate. I tell you what, they always say in wrestling, red equals green, right? And I don't mean green as in money, as in green, you're a fucking J-Bron. But, mate, I love getting colour. And do you know what? It's funny because I've saw somebody in or at least you say somebody in the comments. I had a wee look at the schedule today. Somebody was talking about how there was blood in a match recently and they didn't enjoy it. I totally get that. I remember sitting with Nigel McGuinness watching his documentary together when he was talking about how he got his, I don't know if it was hepatitis C, was it C or B? And I totally get the risks. And it is sort of pathetic, man, but I've loved it. I've loved it.
Well, there you go. There's your new gimmick when the wrestling starts again. Deathmatch Grado. Deathmatch Grado. Sandy, have you got a question for Grado? Rab's not here. You can ask me a question, but I've got nothing to say really. So
well, it was kind of one for Grado and one for everybody. It was my first ICW show was in 2015. It was a tag match. It was Iron Jew versus the Geezers, and I remember that match because it was my first show and Grado was one of the main reasons I went. But I have never seen a match like it in my life. There was a slip and slide. And then there's a picture here that I'd kept because I just thought it was absolutely perfect. But obviously, so for the patrons, but it's a picture.
That
David Wilson took. And how would you describe that to your mates when you say, "Oh, how was it?"
I mean, for those that are not watching the video version of the podcast, I'm stunning in one of the most ill-fitting leotards I ever received. It's purple with polka dots. And is that Tom for the Geezers?
It is, aye.
Tom for the Geezers. I'm stunning up on the second rope and he's chopping my arse. So it isn't my absolute ideal position.
I think it was mere a thumb. It looked like a thumb up the hoop.
Oh, was it a thumb? It probably would have been a thumb. I'd have probably... To be honest with you, if he suggested I chop the arse, I probably would have went, he's a thumbing instead. But I don't even, do you know what? I don't even remember half of that match. I do remember the slide. What was it we done with? Because I think obviously I did the running cannonball, the rolling slice. I think we got the slide out and I slid along it and done that. I mean, they were doing that all around about the country at the time, and they were quite over, by the way. Do you remember at the time? Steve Austin put them over.
And I think apart from yourselves, like they got the biggest pop of the night.
Aye.
And they were just brilliant. But anyway, to the question is like,
Buried the business.
Aye, there's just made your relationship with Colt Cabana. How did you get meeting Colt Cabana, and how has he helped you?
That's a good question, man. I like that. So, I first had heard of Colt Cabana when I started watching indie wrestling in 2002, and he just started in Ring of Honor. And I remember watching him come out, and he came out to what the Cabana, the heart, right? And I fucking loved it, and I loved his strut. I loved it. I loved his strut, and that was probably the time I'm probably 14. I'm still practicing entrances in my room, and I used to copy that Copacabana entrance all the time. I then met him at a show in Kelly in 2004, and I think me and my mate Johnny Miller, we were the only guys in the crowd that recognised him, and we'd both Colt Cabana t-shirts and all the rest of it. And he had a documentary crew filming him, and I remember coming up and doing impressions of him and stuff like that, and doing the strut, and he was loving it for the camera and stuff like that. And I thought, this guy's fucking brand new, man. I love this guy. Anyway, fast forward to half an hour later, right? He's sitting up in the balcony watching the match. And again, I'm just a fucking pure, I'm going on like a wee teenage lassie. I was a teenage boy, but I'm going on like a pure, as if One Direction's in the Grand Hall in Kilmarnock. And I remember we caught eyes with each other, and I waved up at him like, "Hi, Cole." And bear in mind, I'd already done the stuff with him for his film crew. And he went like that. He just went, he looked at me and went, "Fuck's sake, leave me alone." Got up and walked away and walked back. And I was like, this guy's a wanker, right? I was like, I probably didn't think he was a wanker at the time. I was probably just gutted that I was like, fuck, I've took it too far. I should have just left it at the documentary, but I didn't need to make eye contact with him and wave to him like a fucking pure groupie. And so, but then I loved him for years. I loved his podcast and whatever. And when I started the ICW stuff, I always wanted to wrestle Colt Cabana and followed him on Twitter and stuff like that. And I actually remember, but he had a I'm sorry if I'm taking this long, right? But he actually had a interview with Chris Renfrew and Billy Kirkwood on. They had been in a radio show for a local radio station. It was a wrestling talk show, and they got Colt Cabana on it, and they'd mentioned Christmas, and Cabana took it the wrong way because he was Jewish, and I don't know if he hung up or whatever. And at that time, I wanted to get in with the Renfrews and Billy Kirkwoods at the time because they wanted to be in the ICW. So I remember they were talking about him on Twitter and they were all burying him, and I done it, and I atted him, and I was like, I hope your next shite's a hedgehog. And I tweeted that to him, right? However, I don't know if he's right. Now, I only done that to try and show off to the wrestlers, right? But a year later, the British Wrestler documentary came out, and within days of it being up, Sanjay Dutt had tweeted, I can't remember, that he'd watched the British Wrestler or whatever, and I think Cabana quote tweeted it and wrote in capital letters, Grado. And I remember being at my work in the fire brigade, right? And I swear to God, when I read that tweet, I had never got any recognition in wrestling in my life at this point. Never anything at all. I was just a Toon Show wrestler, Toon Hall, go about, wrestle a couple of times a year. But for Cabana to tweet me at that time, it fucking blew my mind. First thing I done was go back to my tweet and delete the Shite the Hedgehog tweet. First thing I done was that. I was like, fuck. He follows me. I DM him. I'm like, man, I'm your biggest fan. You have no idea how much it means to me that you've just tweeted about me. And we keep in contact with each other. We DM each other back and forth. At the time, we were using a thing called Voxer, and I think he was like, I want to speak to you. So we done Voxer. It was sort of like a WhatsApp type deal. And I remember he had the following year, I don't know if it was the same year, he was to be announced for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and we were ICW had their show at the, I can't remember what it was called.
It used to be Revolution in my day. It was the old club. It was called Revolution. It's the Picture House.
The Picture House, that's right. And I just was like, fuck. I was like, Dallas, we need to book him. And I think Dallas at the time, ICW wasn't making a lot of money, and so they were like, you might be too dear or whatever. And I was like, please, this needs to happen. And within an hour, it had all been arranged, and I was wrestling Colt Cabana. And I would say that was the first Yank that I'd wrestled, the first guy that had any real kind of big name. At that point, I'd wrestled your Spuds and stuff like that, but they never had as much a big name as what they did now. And I buzzed off having this match with Cabana. He wanted to tag first, which at the time I was like, no, man, I want to wrestle you. But I see where he was coming for there. He probably should have done that, because what we could have done is we could have squeezed that out, and we could have done like a turn or something at the end of the match. And I totally get it. And so we done the videos, as you probably followed. It was literally, he was sitting at the airport in New York, and he was like, "Look," he says, "How far are you from Edinburgh Airport?" And I'm like, "Well, fucking 2 hours." He was like, "But Cabana's he's fly as fuck." He's like, "Can you pick me up to take me into Edinburgh Town Centre?" No, which is like a 10-minute fucking journey. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, aye, all right. So this is like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was to get in at 11. I get my pal, and I'm like, as long as you let me film you. And he was like, right, no bother. And that's when I just stuck on the camera and followed him about. And then ever since then, I think I was probably one of the first guys as well that he put on his podcast that wasn't an ex-WWE guy, it wasn't an indie guy that had some sort of recognition. That was because I remember when I first came out, everybody was like, who the fuck is this guy? Anyway, cut a long story short, he's done so much for me, 100%. He got me so many connections in America. He flew me to America to do a tour to do the Road Diaries documentary. And that is how I met Colt Cabana.
And I've got a question. Why the fuck has he not been on this show yet?
Mate, because I know what he's like. If you... Cabana is... I don't know if you mind me saying this, but a lot of folk don't go on with Colt Cabana because he...
Yeah, Punk's one of them.
Well, I mean, that again, is that owner back half? Is that they pals? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, but he's put it this way, he's very much misunderstood. He doesn't get like the way he'll meet people and he just like he's in the fucking handshake, you know what I mean, the flimsy handshake and stuff like that. You can tell when he can't be fucked talking to somebody. He makes it plainly obvious. It's funny, but you know, a lot of folk can take it the wrong way. But for me, he really has got a heart of gold. Yeah. And I've no idea. I think the new way we don't have on the podcast is because of AEW tapes on a Wednesday. So I think that's the biggest
probably
challenge, John. But
we'll get on at some point. Sandy, is your question being answered?
Pretty much, aye.
Was that too long?
No, that's fine, Grado. It's fine. We've not got rap here. We've got plenty of time to kill. Sandy, thank you so much for coming on doing the run.
You had another question?
Oh, has he got another question? Have you got another question?
It was just a quick one just for both of you. It was on that same show. Lionheart faked the neck injury. Remember, no one came back, and he faked the neck injury, and everybody bought it. And you know, he done the nip up and fooled everybody and turned heel. So my other question was: has there been any moment you feel like you genuinely got played as a fan where you're like, fuck? Like,
I'll tell you one. By the way, that was amazing. Did you see that, John?
I've seen it on YouTube since.
You've never seen it, John? But I must admit, I've been played a few times, but I've been on the show, if you know what I mean. So I got played with it with Drew debuting at ICW. I got played with that. That was totally kept completely under wraps. So I knew that something big was happening, and I didn't know exactly what it was. And they were like, "You're going to like this," because he legit was held down the stair. He was sitting with Greg and Ford for still game, because I think Greg had came to see him. And when I saw that, man, I just that I mean, that's not a turn as such, but I was definitely played, if you know what I mean, in terms of surprise, which I'm so glad that I did. I didn't know that was going to happen, because I was just like everybody else. I was jumping about daft. And also another one, there was a couple of times in TNA, a little known company that I wrestled for Dubai. We had I'm sure it was either Dixie Carter come out to the ring, and it was live on Impact. They done the next general manager was going to be announced, and nobody knew who it was going to be, and it was Bubba Ray. And when his music hit, and I doing I'm in the ring again, I'm like, fuck, she's cool as fuck. I'm like, I'm getting well muckered up with him, and I did. But I got played with that as well. A heel and face turn, in terms of, I didn't see that coming. I can't even think of the top of my head. John, have you got any?
I think the Balor one recently was like totally came out of nowhere. He did the Pele kick on Gargano on NXT. I really liked that.
Mm-hmm. I see. This is, I don't know. Have you got one, Sandy, that you can think? Well, you've given the Lionheart one, I suppose. That was a pretty good one. But I'm trying to think if it's ever done even. Nah, I can't think really, mate. No. Not heel turn. Trying to think when I was young, when I was like 12 or something like that, when one where I was maybe like kind of gutted. I suppose, I mean, this isn't being caught out, but I was devastated when The Godfather turned heel in 2000. I was gutted with that.
But it was so good, right? The censor was so good.
I mean, as a Wayne as I hated it, but watching it back, I love it now.
I know, it's brilliant. Sandy, all questions asked now.
Happy days. Thank you very much.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a patron. And I want to see the Janny gimmick happen. This is my now thing. I want to see the Janny gimmick happen. In fact, do you know what? I think we'll actually put out a question for the listeners for next week is what careers should be happening as gimmicks in wrestling? Because there must be careers and things out there that haven't happened as gimmicks yet. So the Janny, we're putting that top of the list, Sandy.
Brilliant.
Again, thanks for having me. It's been
cheers.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much, Sandy. Introduce yourself if you ever see me at a show again, Biggie, all right?
I will do. Never.
Cool, man. All right, see you later, pal.
Yes, Sandy.
Bye-bye.
You just made the list!
Every week we ask you guys to vote for our list of wrestling daft. This week it's 30 years since Jericho made his debut in the WWE, in wrestling. And we asked you, would you like to see us talk about the best moments of Jericho, or the draft is happening this Friday? Who would you like to see us draft from where to where? But with 77% of the vote, it was the best moments of Jericho that won it. Grado, have you got a top three for us?
So, unlike Rab likes to get very fucking poetic with these kind of top threes. I'm not really good at stuff like that, right? And my top threes, you'll probably like whatever. But I did go at number 3. Funnily enough, that's my top 3, and a lot of people go, "Why are you putting this in top moments?" But it's just stuff that comes to my head right away. But I've got to put over his entrance to the AEW show last year when he had the choir. I thought that was because I'm such a mark for entrances, and this is what I love about wrestling, the kind of razzmatazz it. I thought it was shit hot. Number 2, you might think, why would you pick that out of all the moments again? But I've got to go back to when I was a Wayne, and this is the stuff that just pops into my head. But when Jericho won the WWF title on Raw, even if it was just for 40 minutes, but when that happened, I was just kind of functioned to believe that the guys like Taker, Triple H, Austin, they were the guys that were champions. No guys like Jericho, small guys in the mid card. So when that happened, I was jumping about my room, gone bush, and I thought that was such a cool moment. As I say, I was gutted when it got rescinded at the end of the night, but that pops into my head as one of the top moments. Number 1, I probably debated with myself whether to put his match with Shawn Michaels in there, but I don't fancy putting a match on, because he's had so many good matches over the years. He even had a good, I think it was No Mercy 2008, had another cracker with Shawn Michaels. But my number 1 moment is, again, his debut on Raw. I watch that all the time. I think that is one of the most incredible debuts ever in a wrestling show. Kick-started his WWF career. And it's just absolutely shit hot when that Jericho lettering comes up on the Titantron and everybody goes bush because they think it's Jericho, they don't think it's Jericho. The crowd were smartened up to it, and the reaction with the crowd popping like that is different class.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you not think it was a bit of a shame that The Rock kind of buried him straight away, though?
He did definitely, because he kind of, he made a full his hair and stuff like that. But
yeah,
you could argue that, but it was entertaining.
I think Jericho said himself though, but that was The Rock putting me over. Do you know what I mean? That was me, my first spot against The Rock. So
I can totally see where he's coming from with that. It's like when wrestlers back in the day would tweet about me and I'd get a boner. Half the time they were burying me, but I was still loving it because I'm getting the attention, I'm getting the attraction. Yeah. It was in a way putting me over, so I can totally get where he's coming from there.
Yeah. Craig, we'll move on to the listener suggestions, the best moments, see if we've missed any here, Grado. Craig says anything that involved the late, great Ralphus. Oh, the Ralphus stuff in WCW.
WCW stuff was great. I love going back watching it in Nitro. It was brilliant.
I remember hearing about Jericho talking about Ralphus and how, like he just basically grabbed him out of nowhere. He was like this guy backstage and then just used him. And then he became one of these stalkery people. Said, because he started getting paid as like a fucking superstar and all that sort of stuff.
That's right. It's mental, man, because I think they put him on the road and is one of the guys, is he still alive?
He's passed away.
Oh, well.
Roderick.
Keep that show to the office.
There we go. Painmaker persona for Dylan, obviously in New Japan. Rab needs to be here to talk about that. Paul, is WCW subjects segments are underrated? Letters from Ted Turner, his dad appearing, Ralphus, ring announcing the Slamboree Battle Royal.
Wait a minute, hold on, sorry to cut you off, but Ralphus just recently passed away like last month.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, that's weird.
We should have the 10 bell salute for him at the start of the show.
Don't be disrespectful.
Sorry. Dean Malenko, and my personal favourite, going to Washington to check the WCW rulebook. That was fucking brilliant. Loved that bit. What a guy. Graham, it has to be the whole Man of 1004 hold stuff. That was
superb. That was great. When
it cut to the break and it came fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brian, how about the time he beat The Rock and Stone Cold on the same fucking night? Or is that the time he fell in his hole when pouring booze on Punk? I don't remember that. John, his debut List of Jericho, one of the best gimmicks he had, and the WWF debut as well. I love the List of Jericho. It's probably my favourite. I'd love that, the whole thing. And here is my actual favourite, the Festival of Friendship.
I missed that, man. I need to go back and watch that.
Oh, have you never seen the Festival of Friendship, Grado? It is fucking one of the best things in wrestling in the last few years. It's brilliant. Phenomenal work. I always thought that City Jericho from 2009 would be his best work, but nobody could have pulled that segment off. Using comedy, turning into tragedy, absolute genius. Chris says he always loved the list. I like the old List of 1004 holds. I can also remember in Toronto and the crowd were cheering him for him. Then he got the mic and ripped right into them. He was always good at getting a crowd reaction. Absolutely. Derek Le Champion in the start of the Inner Circle, very recent. Do you like the Le Champion, Chris Jericho and AEW, Grado?
Love it. Love everything about it. He's definitely the best thing on AEW. Love it.
Yeah. Kev said the list was amazing. First ever undisputed champion, was a surprise at the time, but he's excelled in the main event ever since. Punching Shawn Michaels' wife was a jaw dropper. Fucking hell.
Connected, didn't he?
Aye. And Steve says AEW, he's been brilliant in that. Favourite bit was when he was doing cutting the promo on Vanguard 1. Only a man of his talent can make shouting at a drone quality entertainment. So, thanks very much for listening to a very different Wrestling Daft this week. Rab will be back next week, hopefully without any toothache. We need to pick a listen of the week, Grado.
Some can't get Rab Flaunt's a dentist. I cannot go through this again.
Right, okay. So, listener of the week is anyone who is a dentist out there. So that's it for this week's show. Rate, review, subscribe on Apple, get it where you get your podcasts. Remember, we go on Friday with Rab and Grado, the headline show, and then we've got the obviously Superstars show, us Marks, on a Tuesday, myself, Gary, and Big Alex doing that. Get on the Patreon for more content, patreon.com/wrestling daft. Do you know what, Grado? We should put up one of your Tam O'Shanter videos on the Patreon. Will we do that?
100%. Get that done. I'll maybe send you a couple of outtakes for it because there is a few out there. So I will get that sent for the Patreon.
So you can get that on the Patreon as well. You can get t-shirts as well. Get on shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/wrestling daft. Until next time, I don't have a catchphrase, so I'll just say it's your cell and steal yours.
Up the road!